LPL. We're up to Game 2 between King and Starhorn Royal Club. And Starhorn Royal Club looked fantastic in their last series, but I have to say, it was a bit of a draft mistake from King to leave that Kassadin open.
Whenever Kassadin gets through bans and picks, there either needs to be a specific plan to deal with that champion, or he can really go off. And I feel like that's what we saw in the first game there.
Yeah, and we have to say that it's Cola's performance on the Kassadin as well. And we think of this as a Khorne champion. And as you can see, 10, 2, and 8. That is ridiculous.
His impact, especially in the very early skirmishes. You'll remember very early when they both teleported into the enemy blue buff. The impact of the Kassadin started there. He kept snowballing, of course, as that champion is known to do with all his mobility. 10, 2, and 8. That's finally Cola stepping up and actually taking an early advantage and snowballing that into a game victory. And whatever Khorne and Cola can show during these games before Nami joins this team is just so much added threat for when they add in that top tier AD carry to their lineup later in the season.
And that is not only going to complement sort of their team and having this late game insurance, but it's also going to be paired up with Zero, who had one of the best games on Thresh I have ever seen. And he was hitting everything.
And you often call someone like a Thresh master or a great Thresh player. It's a term that's thrown out there just because Thresh is a flashy champion. You hit that perfect hook, you hit that perfect dark passage, and it's easy to praise that person. But some of those team fights, especially the one we took a replay of where he hit 3 death sentences for 3 picks into picking up a turret, that was completely Zero lifting and Starhorn Royal Club onto his back and turning it into a big team fight win.
Not to mention he managed to get those death sentences onto the targets he needed to. I think the first hook that he got was onto Wushin on that Tristana, eliminate that carry potential, and then it's just pick your way through the rest of the members easy as you like. And Zero has definitely impressed me a lot, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Thresh being banned away and Kassadin. I have a feeling that this champion select is going to look a whole lot different because we're going to mix up these bans just a little bit. Because, I mean, last time we saw a Caitlyn ban, and I'm not entirely sure how effective that necessarily was, but it was brought on by the weird banning coming through with Sivir and Corki.
Well, that's what I like about this current meta is that there's so many champions you could ban that whatever you do ban really influences the style you pick, but also the champion pool that's available. It's almost the one case where being red side is actually a big advantage just because you're getting the Jarvan and Jannas of the world falling to that second rotation. But there's power picks across the board, and as you mentioned, when you're spending 3 bans on AD carries, there's big things to fall through the draft.
Yep. Speaking of falling through the draft, Kassadin not going to this time. Going to be the first ban away here from King. Going to take away the Nara as well. Very Cola-focused ban phase. And Royal Club actually respecting the Azir pickup.
I think that's smart. Assassin showed a lot on that champion despite the team not picking up the win there. So it's probably a smart ban coming out here. It's where we go with these last 2 bans I think will really let us know what to expect in this game coming out.
See what they do decide to go with. Of course, only 12 seconds to go for Royal Club, and they have put a lot of time into this one, but Rek'Sai, she generally needs to be taken off the board because she's just been so strong.
But for Rek'Sai to be banned on the blue side, I guess, is interesting just because, I mean, taking that champion as a first pick, I mean, especially on this patch 5 where she still released Rek'Sai, has all the power still in that champion. Surprising to see the ban come out on blue side, but I guess it just suggests to me that either Insect's not really practiced or they're not really scrimming that champion, or they have someone else in mind for the first pick, and it's not going to be Jarvan.
Yeah, but Thresh has been left up, and that's going to be instantly locked in for Zero. We're going to be seeing some more sweet plays, as you were saying, pretty flashy is Zero's Thresh, but we'll see what King decide to answer for, because Jarvan now taken off the board. Lee Sin sort of the next option in the top echelon of junglers, with Rek'Sai being there as well. MLXG wanted to pick that one up for the second game in a row, not having the best game maybe the last series as he would have wanted to, wanting to get a few more of these ganks to be more successful early, and we'll see whether that's what he wants to finally achieve. And Wushin looking at potentially another Tristana.
And it looks like John is going to fall through the bans and picks right here. Probably going to be picked eventually on the side of King to complement that Janna pickup, but just interesting to see a Royal Club that was so Janna focused at Worlds, realizing the change in their shifting and their comp of lacking a hyper carry and just going for those more comfortable Thresh picks. Thresh has a bit more of a laning flavor than Janna. Like Janna's about protecting that late game carry, but Thresh, he can do so many things as Zero displayed last game. So whether that stays true when they pick up Nami and they change their identity once again, we don't know, but Thresh seems to fit their current style to a T.
Most definitely. Plus being able to speed it up now with this on the hunt. Of course, Sivir Getting through the draft, being looked at now at this stage of our champion select.
Well, I mean, you can say that focusing on HYY didn't work for them last game.
Yeah.
Didn't work for King. HYY, although he didn't make any big flashy plays, he played safely. He completed his role, and Korn and Cola really took it from there. What are King going to throw out this time?
Lucian looking to potentially pick up that Janna for the bottom side. An Assassin hovering over his world-famous Yasuo. Not going to be the case, though, as they're just going to be picking around here. And King probably want to leave themselves with a mid lane last pick here, just so that they can make sure Assassin's in a good matchup there in the mid lane and can try and carry for his team.
I'm interested to see if Sky gets a bit of a better matchup in the top lane. As I see, they were deciding between the Janna and the Nami. They settled for the Nami, who has a lot more of the disengaged flavor, but a bit more of a laning champion. So maybe they are looking to 2v2 the Tristana Nami against Sivir and Thresh. That's what I would guess from the pickup of the Nami over the Janna.
We'll see whether it is going to work out. Of course, Sivir with a lot of lane pressure, a lot of pushing power as well with that Ricochet, and of course that Boomerang Blade as well. King look to have an idea here for their comp, as the solo laners are now going to come through from Royal Club, and so far hovering some terrifying options.
And some of their most trademark picks. These are sort of picks we saw come out of Starhorn Royal Club in terms of solo laners at Worlds. The Fizz, although Korn played it to a T during the regular season, he never really got it going at Worlds. His Fizz was actually quite underwhelming.
You could say it fizzled.
Well, you could. But we're expecting a bit more from that pick right here. And the Aurelia, Cole's actually shown a lot of proficiency on that champion in early skirmishing and in laning, but hasn't been able to really team fight like a late game Aurelia, like we saw from going in the previous series. So, you know, he's managed to get his tails up, but he hasn't been able to translate that into team fight wins. After that first series, he's probably feeling very confident. So let's give Aurelia another go.
Yeah, and Assassin thinking about what he wants to play there in that mid lane, hovering over the Zed at this stage would be a definite treat to see Assassin on one of those big Assassins, and it looks to me as the countdown does get to 0 that Zed is going to be locked in here for the mid laner of King. So looking like a terrifying mid-game comp.
And a terrifying mid lane matchup. So much of a skill matchup between the Fizz and the Zed right there. You look down Starhorn Royal Club's team, they do have people to deal with the inevitable Zed split push in the late game. Aurelia especially is one of the best persons to deal with a Zed split push. So she has the ability to stun under turret, has a lot of CC reduction, is a very maneuverable champion right here. I wouldn't be surprised to see Rengar and King in general focusing on Cola, trying to get him behind, just so you have a bit of a power trough in the mid game where Zed can freely split push against Aurelia, who still hasn't gotten going in terms of items.
Yeah, of course, as soon as that Trinity Force comes in, you've got a lot of power. But before that, there is a little bit of time when you can pressure her down. But I don't know whether Assassin's going to be able to get out of that mid lane and do that work, especially when we've seen Fizzes do so well against Zeds in the past.
I mean, the current Fizz build we're seeing is that Morello Nomicon into perhaps a Zhonya's Hourglass. Maybe he'll go for a Zhonya's Hourglass rush here just to have that backup, you know, the stasis, just to be able to deal with Zed's death mark. But I have a feeling Korn's going to play with his tail up, go for the Morellonomicon into the more utility-focused Zhonya's build right here. It's a skill matchup, but of course it's only a skill matchup if the junglers stay out of mid lane, and this is Insect on Lee Sin, so anything's possible.
It certainly is, and it is going to be a pleasure to see Insect on his trademark champion, but we are going to hop onto the Rift, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. We are onto the Rift with Starhorn Royal Club taking on King. Now Starhorn on our blue side, King on the red. And they're fanning out, seeing whether they can make something happen here on this level 1 situation. But we were talking about the mid lane. Assassin now on this Zed against Korn's Fizz. It's just going to be so frightening to see how this one works out. But Rumble versus Aurelia, how do you reckon this matchup's going to go?
I mean, Rumble versus Aurelia is a matchup we've seen many times over the years. Rumble has a lot of fun in the early game right there, bullying around melee laners. So, of course, Aurelia no exception to that rule. But once we start hitting level 9, it starts to really move in Aurelia's advantage. Of course, both champions very adept in a 1v2 situation. So it wouldn't be a surprise to see some lane swaps coming out as we see quite aggressive invades coming from Starhorn Royal Club. I actually expected both teams to go really deep for vision here, just because when you're dealing with a Rengar in the jungle, if he's predictable, if you have advanced warning of the fact that he's level 5, closer to level 6, you can really avoid kind of the devastating level 6 power spike that Rengar picks up.
Yeah, they haven't quite managed to, though. A little bit foiled here by MLXG's positioning on the map. They are going to be able to get their wards down, and Royal Club just going to slink back into their jungle. As far as this early game is concerned, standard lanes look to be the thing. You're exactly right as far as using that Nami to really try and get themselves forward in this lane, give Tristana a little bit of a hand trading. Of course, that Tidecaller's Blessing being fantastic in that department, adding you that slow and the extra damage. But against a Sivir and against Zero's Thresh, that could be scary.
I mean, realistically, it's going to be Tristan, Nami under turret doing their best to CS. And Sivir free pushing. So, of course, that opens up so much extra space for Insect to play aggressively because they'll have perfect vision on Wushin and Liam in this bottom lane.
As we do have the red start here for MLXG, opting not to go for the Krugs again, as Insect is going to take those and then head straight over to this red buff. We'll just see whether anything changes as far as the aggression is concerned. Zero taking a lot of damage here in the bottom side of the map as a little bit of early pressure being put on by King. But this is what happened in our last matchup, and it didn't seem to phase Royal Club at all.
It didn't phase Royal Club right here. We see actually Rengar moving very aggressively on the mini-map right here. Probably not going to look for a level 2 gank, but he is going to smell around this Lee Sin jungle.
Yeah, there's the play actually. Zero walking forward very aggressively, but as you mentioned, MLXG is towards the bottom side. There's a death sentence forcing the heal here from Wushin, but he's not dead. HYY can't manage to get the action. Oh, the flash out of the Boomerang Blade. First blood goes to HYY. The teleport to come in from Royal Club. They are so low. There's the heal. MLXG is now just getting eradicated. HYY does fall down. That's a nice flash. Jumping through as well. He's trying to juke, but he's going to fall down. Kohler picks up the kill, and now Zed's here for the party as well. The Ignite onto Kohler. They flash forward. There's the auto attack. Sky picks up the kill there, but here's Insect, and here's Korn. Everyone's paying a visit to the bottom side of the map, and Sky's going to get cleaned up. It's going to be 5 kills to 2 here at the beginning for Royal Club.
A delayed ace for Royal Club before the 3.5 minute mark. I see you trying to maintain your composure there, Atlas. This is the Chinese LPL. We have a lot of fun in the bottom lane at this early in the game. And I have to say, some of the rotations there from King were really off. Specifically, Rumble was so late on the teleport that there was a massive amount of work being done by Aurelia in that fight. It just felt like King were responding so. So we see the replay right here. They've already had first blood at this point. And MLXG comes in lane level 2. They were baiting from this whole time. He is able to pick up 1 exit kill. But Sky at level 2 came to this fight late, had little to no pressure. And we see the cavalry's coming down from the mid lane right here. So many level 2 members trying to pick up kills. But of course, not much strength on that level 2 Rumble right here. The moment that Insect hit that Lee Sin Q, it was all over for King, and 5 kills is the result. I mean, if this was a scrim, you might be FFing out at this point. It's not looking good for King.
Not to mention the fact that Zero went down to no health at all, and everyone just ignored him, thinking that he was going to die. Ended up surviving the entire time, picking up 4 assists and a kill for himself. So Zero again starting to have a fantastic game as they're trying to reset these lanes. As nice spell shield out from HYY is going to save him from that explosive shot.
And it's one of the kind of the double whammy here for King is that you look down, there's a bit of gold for everyone, a kill for everyone except for the Lee Sin right here. And crucially, this is a Starhorn Royal Club team with so many threats. Irelia, Fizz, and Sivir are all massive damage threats, and they've all got going, especially Fizz. I mean, 2-0. A Sheen at 4 minutes into the game.
Oh my goodness.
What goes from a skill lane matchup in mid lane is now just a bit of a disaster.
Yeah, punishment, I think, for Assassin at this stage, as MLXG is going to get discovered here by Insect, but it's a nice empowered bowler. He's actually going to flash here, gets the Sonic Wave. The Resonating Strike came in as well, and MLXG just going to get auto-attacked to death as Insect just follows him around for a while.
You know how a game's going when you can aggressively flash onto an enemy jungler and take him down solo at 5 minutes.
Yeah, things just not having the start that King wanted to, but of course with the coordinated play that Starhorn Royal Club have been showing throughout this series, it's almost to be expected at this stage as they already have a 2,000 gold lead at 6 minutes.
And what Starhorn Royal Club will take away from this series, let's assume they win 2-0, which is looking likely at this point. That'll be their 3rd 2-0 victory with this kind of makeshift lineup with HYY at AD carry. So basically, oh my goodness, we're going to see a trade down bottom lane. Yeah, on my monitor, I see a lot of damage coming into Wushin. He's not going to fall, but what they take away from that is you have to say Nami is going to be a straight upgrade on HYY, just from what we know about the players.
Yeah.
So for a straight upgrade to walk into a team that's actually doing fairly well, Star World Cup could be making a serious jump towards the top of the standings as the league progresses. 44 best of twos. We're only going to be 10 games down for Royal Club after this series. Plenty of time to really get going.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that HYY is actually a mid laner as far as his preferred role is concerned. So not even on his normal role, and that shows a lot of the power of having a lane with 0 in it. Because that guy's just able to carry anyone.
Well, I mean, we knew the trade came in very late for Nami, obviously happening outside the trade parameters. As we see, Assassin's in trouble.
Yeah, the Deathmark is going to land at a 0 here. Does dodge out of the way of the Earth, but he's going to go back under his turret there, and Korn, that Sheen Urchin Strike, easily going to be able to secure that kill, despite the quick feet.
Yeah, I mean, this Fizz is massive. 3-0-0. Going to have a Lich Bane at, what, 10 minutes into this game, probably, at this point. He's already, he's about 800 gold away from that item, so doing very happily if you're Korn. I mean, just everything's coming together for Royal at the same time. We thought that was the case in the first game. Much accelerated as the pace of the second game.
It certainly is. I mean, the one thing that King can hold on to is the fact that their Tristana did manage to pick up a BF sword on that, I guess, second back after death. And was actually ahead in farm. Now heading back to base, heading back to lane.
I mean, while that's nice, I mean, even if Tristana was in an even situation, the moment that Sivir pops on the hunt and you've got a 3-0 Fizz and an Aurelia who's winning by 20 CS in the top lane coming at you, not much you can do as Tristana.
Yeah, things could be problematic. I was just looking for something to talk about that's positive for King.
The silver linings.
It's difficult to find, Mr. Smithy, at this stage of the game.
But they'll keep pressuring. Of course, Sky's hit level 6 in the top lane, so they're always in with a shot of being able to contest Dragon. I guess the one thing you can say is for all the kills, no neutral objectives picked up yet for Starhorn Royal Club.
Not quite, as that pink ward not going to fall down, and Liam's going to be forced to get the heck back. And this is also going to be playing on the minds of King as well. I mean, despite the fact that they're down so far early on, they're also playing so scared because they know that they've stuffed up, basically.
Yeah, they haven't been able to... They've got some good defensive vision around their flanks. The pink wards actually are to the advantage of King, I'd say, just because they have a bit more dragon vision coming out of the pink wards they have down, but they can't even dream of putting wards in the enemy jungle just because they saw what happened when MLXG even went in the same part of the jungle as Lee Sin. He got solo killed.
Yeah, and do you think that this Rumble coming in with an equalizer, it is now available, is level 7 at this stage, as Insec is looking to put some pressure on? Do you think that that equalizer in these dragon fights could potentially help get King back into this game? I
mean, there's always that, you know, when you think about the potential engagement, there's always that 1% chance where just the most beautiful equalizer comes down and the low members get cleaned up by the resets on Wushin, but I think realistically no, just because of the movement speed coming from on the hunt.
Yeah, but we do have a very aggressive engagement here in the bottom lane. Heal does get popped by Wushin. They manage to get a nice buster shot. It's double teleports to come in, and the Transcendent Blades. There's a flash into the play. It's a nice equalizer. HYY goes down incredibly low. Is he going to get out? Oh, the last auto attack from Liam manages to secure the kill. But he's possibly going to pay for that one with his life as Wushin tries to cut around. That ebb and flow was beautiful. And the fish picked up, and there's nowhere to go. A death sentence is just exactly what that name provides. The Assassin tries to come in and get the work done, but he's not going to be able to. A gigantic creep wave going to keep Royal Club alive.
Yeah, 3-for-1 exchange right there. Insect's looking for a bit more fun at the back right there. It just doesn't come up. Oh my goodness, Insect's in trouble.
MLXG actually getting a lot of damage down, but he's just going to face check into the brush and die.
Not much to say about that.
No. It's just a very dead kitty.
Very dead kitty. I mean, going damage, obviously, still working for his Warrior Enchantment, just finishes that item. This Rengar is going to be one of those faux initiate Rengars who jumps in, puts down that Boulder Strike, and just has to hightail it out there.
Yeah, or die. I think that's what MLXG has decided. His move is to let's do some stuff for the team and die.
So let's talk about the 10-minute 401 Lich Bane Fizz.
Oh, sounds rude to even mention it.
The moment you face check this Fizz, you are instantly dead, whoever you are on the King side, and King just, they're on life support, and that's a worrying place to be at 11 minutes into a game.
Yeah, Wushin actually standing in Urchin Strike range of Korn there seemed very, very dangerous. Not going to pull the trigger just yet, is Korn. Of course, that Chum Reward is not quite available.
Whenever you're ahead with a double Sightstone comp, obviously Lee Sin going to be happy to pick up an early Sightstone here. It's littered with wards is this bottom side of the map. Just unbelievable amount of wards. 3 pinks out on the map. Greens in every other brush. I mean, they haven't taken a dragon, but my lord, they can have it whenever they want it.
They can, and it seems to me like they want to put the pressure on the rest of the map. They know that they have complete vision control of that dragon, so they can take it when they see an opportunity. After they've taken a couple of members out, potentially, or taken a turret, or they're in the bottom lane, on their way past. There's no pressure here on the Royal Club side, and just that beautiful play at the beginning, just able to put them ahead. And
you can even add the insurance here that say what you want about Rumble and his strength around the dragon, but there's no teleports available on the top laners here. So even though I'd fancy this Aurelia in a team fight, 3-1-1 has red buff right now. So of course Rumble just staying on the turret. Not even that 1 in a million equalizer will be the difference.
Yep, deciding to... Now's the time to take this dragon as MLXG is deciding to die to Krugs a little bit. He's just going to be flashing health. And Insect going to secure that dragon very easily, and King just... It just seems like they're not in this game anymore.
Well, I mean, they're in this awkward position where the only way that Tristana can realistically farm is putting her in mid. So you're like, all right, Zed in the off lane. That's pretty standard, but this isn't a Zed with Blade the Ruin King and a Brutalizer. This is a Zed with just the components of those items and just really can't affect much. Just basically going to get zoned off this turret. Tristana is going to get some farm, has the Avarice Blade to double down on the investment banker approach to this game, but
yeah,
it's just not enough.
Oh, there's the Chum the Waters. A nice rocket jump does get Wushin out of the rest of it, but Korn too slippery, and Kohler going down very low in this top lane, but does manage to get a follow-up kill. MLXG, he secures it in the end, but a 1-for-1 is not what you want.
A 1-for-1 when you're committing 2 people to a lane is definitely not what you want, so it just extends Starhorn Royal Club's dominance of this early game right here. I mean, Wushin's taking so much damage just from an EWQ.
That Aqua Prison was insane. Insect does flash to get the kick there. The exhaust was a good attempt, and Layham now in a lot of trouble. He gets Chilling Smited. A nice Sonic Wave to land there as well as the Death Sentence lands. Of course it does, and HYY picks up the kill.
This series, the Death Sentence has been a targeted skill shot coming out from Zero. It's been so on form. Not just a kill they pick up there, they're going to take an objective too, and that's when a team really is doing well, when all the skill shots are hitting, when the kills are turning into objectives. Starhorn Royal Club, we were talking about them forging an identity. Seems pretty clear. They're here to play.
They certainly are, and it's looking reminiscent of the likes of OMG with these multiple carries coming through all across the board. I mean, not necessarily being as strong in that bottom side of the map, but you can imagine when Name comes onto the team, it is going to be so scary playing against these guys because Kohler has been stepping up. Korn is a monster at the moment, 4-1 and 2 on this Fizz. Almost has that Zhonya's as well. Going to be going for that needlessly large rod next up.
But this is the sort of form that Uzi was looking to from his solo laners at Worlds.
Yeah.
It was always about Korn and Kohler losing lane, going even. Kohler especially was struggling to pick up Ryze and some of the other champions that were in the meta around Worlds. How different would it be if you were Uzi or any AD carry playing this team when you look at your solos? They're both on damage carry solos. 4-2-1, 4-1-2, winning in CS in the top lane. It's a lot different picture, and this is what, theoretically, Name will be walking into in a week or two's time.
Yeah, he's going to be sitting down, watching the game, just sort of feeling it as the flash is actually going to get popped here as the Deathmark comes in onto Kohler here as well. Assassin going down very low, but does manage to pick up the kill with Ignite.
Okay, some of the play getting a bit sloppy now from Starhorn Royal Club, just overly pushing things. They are 4,500 gold ahead, but it's not that big a lead.
Beautiful bowler.
3 members converging on Korn. He's strong, but not strong enough for 3.
Yeah, we'll see whether MLXG is going to be able to get... Oh, nice play to come through as the tower does go down. Chum the Waters isn't going to land, and King with a sweet outplay in the bottom side.
They didn't have the Morellonomicon. It's just a straight damage Fizz, so obviously wasn't able to get the Playful Trickster up there again. Wushin's pushing in aggressively. Starhorn Royal Club, they're ahead, but they need to take a step back, group again, get their wards back on the map, because of course a lot of their aggressive green wards have elapsed. And we're going to see a replay right here. Korn's, he's really looking for a kill, but he's actually split between 3 members. Obviously didn't see the teleport coming in right there. So close. I love the flash on the end of the Trickster to try and get a bit of damage. It wasn't quite enough, and of course MLXG, the consistent damage with red buff is enough.
Yeah, in the meantime, though, turret did fall down as Assassin is going to get enough here to take down this bottom lane outer turret. So first turret being picked up by King. That's going to help close that gold gap just a little bit. Only 4,000, actually. They're coming back into this game, and we may have sort of sold out King a little bit early, because that last passage of time has been fantastic for King, you have to say.
Well, we wrote their eulogy based on competitive norms, which is that when you're that far ahead in the early game, you don't usually throw a game or really see such a big comeback in a general game. But Star Royal Club, they're playing with fire here. They had the win. They were looking really comfortable. They had the vision. They had every part of the game down that a team like OMG would at that point in the game. But they're just getting needlessly aggressive. There was no need for Korn to be hunting and killing what was at best a 1v2 situation. They're just making some small errors right here, and they need to rely on Insect's cool head here. They've got the aggressive moves up. He just needs to calm them down and go for some more smart plays.
Yeah, Sky actually going to get kicked back here as well, but Insect taking damage from these Krogs. Sky turning it around. He overheats and picks up the kill.
That's not the cool plays they need. There's no need to 1v1 a Rumble with double magic penetration items as a Lee Sin. I mean, you're a glorified support on that Lee Sin. So
yeah, I think that cool head not quite working out here for Insect.
And King, I mean, they're just going to sit back. You have to remember they have that late game insurance policy of the Tristana here has the Avarice Blade. It's been really picking up the gold. Of course, she has an item deficiency, a huge item deficiency to HYY. But late game, it won't be a big difference.
It won't at the moment, though. It certainly is. As 1,300 gold needed to get to that 2-item spike that Wushin really wants to get to. Of course, not going to be quite enough, as mentioned in the previous game, to have those 2 items, but of course Tristana is going to get scary. As Thriller Hunt has been popped. Cola, he gets bowled. There's a beautiful Aqua Prison Death Mark to come through as well. You can see Cola answering back with a lot of damage. Liam almost died, but they do manage to get the 3 versus 1 kill.
And they're using their assassination duo really smart here. Here is King. They're managing to catch all these laners in transitions. Whenever Aurelia's walking to a lane, they've been getting successful ganks off. Whenever a member's out of position, they're picking up trade kills. And this gold lead, which was massive 10 minutes ago, is only 3,000.
Yeah, and if you look at it as a percentage, as this gold lead doesn't keep stretching, King are actually getting further and further back into this game as Sonic Wave does find Assassin. MLXG is going to launch himself onto Insect, but Sky's here as well. Doesn't have that ultimate just available just yet as Chum the Waters comes through. Korn, painful trickstering around, but he's going to die. Assassin picks up that kill. Insect is so low. There's the equalizer, trying to get the work done onto Insect, but Zero with a beautiful face of the mountain gets Wushin here as well with a death sentence, and Zero just says, guys, we got to get back into this one, and he's doing so.
The aggression comes on, the Cola's going in.
He's going in. Sky is in a lot of trouble. Hidden style is going to be enough to take that one. Takes the Dark Passage to get back to his team as On the Hunt has been popped. Zero's threatening with that almost pinpoint. Beautiful Aqua Prison, though. Stops him from finding his mark. Tidal Wave going to get spell shielded as Cola's found his way into this fight as well, but finally they're going to back out.
They should be able to pick up their second dragon of the game right here. They didn't extend that fight too hard. They will pick up the objective from this, but Star Royal Club, they continue to play with fire. They're taking what should be a fairly routine and easy win if they were to play in a tutorial style like someone like LGD you might expect to do. And they're giving King a chance back into this game. And when you're against a Tristana, that's something you never want to do.
That is entirely true. Needlessly large rod now picked up for Sky as well.
So we go to the replay right here. I mean, they were actually to some degree baiting this. They knew Sky was coming, but he didn't quite have Equalizer available, and that would have completely changed this fight. The fish misses right here. It's a very messy fight. As you see, King like Sky specifically is waiting for Equalizer to come out. It's a good Equalizer, but not quite enough to finish any members of Starhan Royal Club here. And then Zero, we talked about his hooks last game. They're still on point. Yeah. It was a wonderful death sentence coming in right there. And it's just a game of inches. It feels like for the massive lead that Starhan Royal Club had 10 minutes ago, they're continually surrendering a little bit more every minute.
And you think as well, I mean, Assassin's forged himself a massive CS deficit by getting that free lane farm there with his split push that he started so early. So that lead in the mid lane is not as much as you'd otherwise expect, especially considering the start that Korn had in this game.
I mean, Korn effectively entered lane with a Sheen. Like, obviously it was after that long engagement in the bottom lane, but 3-4 minutes into the game had a Sheen, which should be the end. That should be Fizz aggressively positioning, denying CS from Assassin, and while that happened for a good 5-10 minutes, the result afterwards, they split Assassin off, they let Tristana just solo in the middle, and of course Fizz can't do much against an AD carry and support duo. They can't get a double kill in that situation. So there's actually very smart rotations coming out from King that have really got them a foothold in what is still a very difficult win for them, it's becoming more and more in the realm of possibility.
Yeah, MLXG actually Thrill of the Hunting up here as well, and Royal Club is going to back away seeing those exclamation marks. Nice Dark Passage going to get HYY back to his team, but they successfully hold on to that inner turret in the top side of the map, and Wushin, more importantly, able to farm out this wave unhindered.
Now we see a bit more of the split push favor coming out from Korn right here. He's split pushing on the Fizz. Going to back right now, sitting on a nice amount of gold, but not enough to get towards that Zhonya right now. 500 gold short of it in this large rod. I feel like once the Zhonya comes through, they're going to be happy putting Korn in a 1v1 off lane against Assassin and being confident that he can deal with that split pushing Z factor.
Yeah, and Wushin now has picked up that Infinity Edge as well. So looking over the other side, I mean, we've got the purple build being completed here by Assassin with that Ghost Blade and the Blade of the Ruined King. He's going to have a lot of assassination potential and also a lot of turret killing potential as well. So you put him in a lane, he's going to tear those turrets apart with that burst of attack speed. And also be very slippery with that Blade of the Ruined King movement speed as well.
And what feels like an unbelievable stat is that right now, Assassin's actually 200 gold ahead of this Fizz, which,
my goodness.
I mean, he was probably a good 1,000, 1,500 gold in the hole not 15 minutes ago. For that to change so dramatically, it shows actually the rotational play of King. They were very smart to put him in that off lane. I questioned it, but I didn't really click with the fact that a Fed Fizz, while he's a lane bully, he can't lane bully a 2v1 situation. He can't lane bully an 80 carry support. And that early rotation from King has opened up a bit of breathing room for what was looking to be something they were going to be choked out of this game much earlier.
Ooh, Assassin actually popped that Ghost Blade now. Gets a little bit creep blocked, and Korn does manage to make it to safety. Of course, while Korn doesn't have that Zhonya's Hourglass. Oh, Sonic Wave just missing here from Insec. The Chilling Smite comes down. Assassin waiting for that Shadow to be off cooldown. There it is, but he's in amongst a whole lot of people, and that went a long way from HYY, but it's going to be Insect that picks up the kill. 4 members here on the bottom side of the map.
And very nice pick coming up from Star Royal Club. They did have some aggressive wards down, which opened up that pick, but King, they look like they're going to go in.
Thrill of the Hunt has been popped. It's a nice tidal wave as well, but Chum the Waters lands on the Sky. He's just dead immediately as the box is in a beautiful position. This inner turret's now down. The flash into the death sentence. Wushin, you're dead as well. And Zero is ridiculous.
We're running out of superlatives for this amazing Thresh play we're coming from Zero. He's basically dragging his team to a victory here right now, kicking and screaming at parts. There was a very nice pick onto Sky right there. They focused all the damage onto Rumble to the extent that he died with the Equalizer up. It wasn't even an ill-positioned Equalizer. It had no space control whatsoever. It didn't even come out, and they lose a structure. An inhibitor goes down for that. That opens up so much Baron control, having the opposite inhibitor down at this early point.
And it seemed like Star Royal Club just sick of letting King think that they're getting back into this game, decide, okay, let's do it, guys. Let's be serious about this and actually get ourselves back into this game in a decisive fashion. Because as soon as they turned it on, I mean, Assassin died, transitioned into everything that they wanted.
I mean, 1-0-16 is Thresh at this point in a 19-kill game. So that lets you know just how much work Zero is doing in this game. He's been a massive force, and he's the only one who really hasn't slipped in the mid-game. Star Royal Club, they took their eyes off the prize for a few minutes there, and it looked like King could get back into it, but not if Zero's around.
Yeah, and we have to talk about Kohler as well. He's been a little bit of the unsung hero as far as what we've been talking about. 7-4-2 now on this Aurelia. Has that Frozen Heart and, of course, a Giant's Belt to complement that yet again. And against this comp with the two sort of main damage dealers, you have to say, being so AD reliant, that Frozen Heart's going to be doing so much work.
Well, I mean, you can also talk back to strategy. King have a Zed. Zed's all about split pushing, but how can you split push against this combo, all this armor that's been amassed right here as we see a bit of fighting going on?
Yeah, Korn's very deep. Chum the Water's actually going to get flashed out of the way from by MLXG, but he's still going to take the damage from it. Sonic Wave not going to find its mark. Royal Club want to find their way in, but MLXG is down so low, and Powered Bowler just going to be thrown into the breeze.
One thing we didn't touch on is that this Royal Club only has Sivir as a ranged auto attacker right here, so it's very difficult for them to take down structures. The fact that they could get a 24-minute inhibitor is so massive for their minion wave management right here. They're going to take another structure. Every single turret they take is a bonus given the comp they've picked up. If they can ever take a turret without getting a pick, that just illustrates how far ahead they are.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that there were super creeps in the base of King as well, so they knew They weren't going to be able to hold on to that inner turret for long, as Assassin taking the Raptors in exchange for this Dragon that Royal Club are going to be taking, and that's an easy third Dragon for Royal Club. They have so much power across this map, and King just again looking like they cannot handle this pressure now that Royal Club have turned themselves back on and back into this game.
And the movement speed will only help Starhan Royal Club's rotations right here. And again, speaking about this Zed who's on screen right now, he can't split push against Fizz just because, of course, the Zhonya's Hourglass is completed there. And Aurelia also is not a realistic option. So I don't see how Assassin's going to have any split pushing flavor right here, just because the two main threats, the two main people most likely to be split pushing the Starhan Royal Club, Assassin doesn't really hold a candle to either of them.
Not at all. One thing that we can talk about for King, though, is that Wushin is about to pick up this last Whisper. Only needs 1,050 gold for that one. But 1-5-1, and sort of a little bit of a magnet for those death sentences as well, you have to say. I mean, it's more on Zero being fantastic at getting the picks, but getting hooked as a Tristana is almost just a team fight over.
And I guess the issue there is I'm ready to jump on Wushin for his positioning, but I think the thing you have to consider here is where is the wave clear going to come from King? It kind of relies on Tristana for wave clears, which is something you never want to do. So he has to be aggressively positioned to get those auto attacks on the minions. And that's when he's getting caught. That's what Zero has really picked up on here, is that because he has to position aggressively, that's what they have to do.
Insect going in very aggressively. The fight starting with Insect falling down immediately. Wushin getting a lot of damage there as well. He's still at full health. Korn is going to get taken down as well. It's a double kill now, and Zero in a lot of trouble. 3 are already dead. King with another kill. That is a double for both of the big carries for King. And what happened to Royal Club?
Insect's captain, Insect, went far too deep. They're trying to manufacture something out of a hat. They had no need to turret dive right there, especially against a Rumble. But wow, the teleport is on, and suddenly King have a decision to make.
Yeah, Kohler actually forced a teleport decision here, but he's going to have to get the heck out. Rumble's going to come through. They pick up the Baron, and Kohler unable to get anything done in that base. I mean, it was a valiant effort to try and get something done, but King well and truly back into this game.
And the important factor there is that once the Baron buff came down, they had Sky already in position to be able to activate those Baroned up minions and start to the counter push coming there. So wasn't able to pick up that base turret to really get a decent gold trade coming in. And it doubles down on King right there. And again, Insect, he didn't need to do that. And this captain, the person who's shot calling we've kind of been focusing on for this series, making some really questionable engages this game.
Yeah, he's making aggressive moves, but getting that kick in the wrong direction just really messed it up for the Royal Club lineup, and unable to capitalize on Kohler being so strong as well.
It's one of those situations where there's definitely a game with these same team comps where Insect has to make aggressive turret dives just because they have no turret damage or turret pushing ability because of their lack of ranged auto attackers. But we saw previously King were willing to give up their mid-inner turret just because of the implied pressure of a dive. It didn't really feel like Starhan Royal Club needed to pull the trigger on a dive on the top inner turret. Like, it's not that important a structure. They didn't need to go all in and risk everything for that structure, and they've paid very heavy price for that.
They certainly have. You have to think that King, unable to really capitalize on this Baron buff too much as far as the pushing power and the siege potential that they do get from it.
It's a defensive Baron. It's denying the enemy an objective to fight at, and it's allowing Tristana to power up a bit further. If Tristana can get that Bloodthirster especially, and become a real tank buster, be able to DPS down this very, very tanky Aurelia, King have a chance. But it looks like MLXG is going to be aggressive.
Yeah, Thrill of the Hunt has been popped. They're looking for HYY or Zero here at this stage, but MLXG unable to find too much. And they don't even want to pressure this outer turret in the mid lane. They are still respecting Royal Club so much.
Even with Korn showing himself up top, they don't try and take this outer turret. I think that's a bit of a mistake. They only have one turret down on the map. It actually, if they can equalize the turret lead, they're going to equalize the gold here, which really lets you know how the lanes are doing in terms of how even this game is right here. King are more in this game than they might realize.
Yeah, and certainly what we'd expect from that early stage of the game, where they just basically felt like they'd lost in that first team fight that broke out in the bottom side of the map. And
that just really is a warning sign to Starhan Royal Club, is that even if they can get massively ahead, there's always the potential that you're able to, give up such a strong lead, give up objectives, make needless plays. That's honestly what happened here. Star Royal Club. The hook hits.
Another hook to come through. On the hunt has been popped. MLXG is going to flash out of there, and the disengage to come through from Royal Club, actually. Chum the Waters is going to land, but it's not going to hit anyone as the Deathmark comes on HYY, but it's not going to be enough. It's a beautiful playful trick. The Lamb gets caught by another Descent. Wushin's going to fall down in the sky here as well, and the double kill to come in for HYY.
21 kill participation in a 23 kill game, 90% kill participation for Zero on this support. He always is the insurance for this team for all the bad plays they make. I mean, we saw Insect up top lane just dying 1v1 to Rubble for no reason at all.
Yeah.
And they've made similar plays like that. They've done their best to really give King a chance back into this game, but not if Zero's on duty.
They are certainly capitalizing on having Zero just so strong on this Thresh. Zoning death sentence to come through just there, and this is going to be the second inhibitor falling for Starhorn Royal Club, easily managing to pick up those objectives now that they win such a beautiful team fight. And Assassin sort of just went in a little bit too early and died for it, got exhausted and died.
Assassin was in a bad spot. He basically had to ult to juke a skill shot. He died for it. This is the 4th dragon coming down. If there wasn't already a timer on this game with 2 inhibitors down for King, the threat of the 5th dragon just secures the fact that the next 5 minutes should be the game for Royal Club.
Yeah, MLXG just going to get kicked out of the way as Royal Club are still waiting in the wings. Descent's not going to land a little bit uncharacteristically, and Insect actually forcing the heal out. There's a flash as well. King might have an opportunity here as Chum the Waters comes in. Assassin from round the side. Descent's going to go wide. And Aqua Prison not going to find its mark either. Royal Club able to get out after getting that dragon, but King wanting to put some pressure on this bottom side.
And the Super Minions aren't going to hit the King base just yet, so they can afford to be aggressive for the next 10, 20, 30 seconds before their base starts to get overrun by these massive Super
Descent's out on the other side. Assassin manages to land that one. A beautiful equalizer to come in as well, but HYY going to flash out of the way. Assassin still alive here as Wushin wants to get some damage down. Rumble does manage to pick up a kill, and Layham, now you're in a lot of trouble. Sky falls down as well, and Royal Club turn it back on.
And HYY deserves credit here, just because for the second team fight in a row, he's actually managed to spell shield the Deathmark, something that's so hard to pull off because you have to predict when it's coming.
Oh,
Colin's going in.
The bowler. And nice flash out of the way of the playful Trickster, and the Buster shot here as well. Assassin just presses E, picks up the kill, and a beautiful passage of play from King after what was pretty disappointing.
It's going to be an answering kill. You'd have to think that the Fleet of Foot passive is going there for HYY. He picks up the kill. He's been a very depth hand this time. 7-3 and 10 on Sivir. HYY, maybe he's outclassed against the top, the creme de la creme of the LPL, but he's doing very capably this game.
Certainly is, especially when you have the support of such fantastic players on this Royal Club side who have really stepped up. And what we were talking about before was the identity crisis that Royal Club's had, and even though they may have been playing a little bit overconfidently, they have definitely shown that when they need to, they can make the plays required of a team that doesn't just have one carry.
The carry potential of their laners is definitely a big win for Starhorn Royal Club stepping away from this series, but the shot calling of their new shot caller, Insect, really needs to be tightened up. His personal decisions in terms of choosing fights has been poor. Some of their team fight engages have been very poor, and they can't afford that against the top teams in this LPL.
HYY, by the way, went back and bought a full Last Whisper and a QSS.
He's doing all right.
Yeah, he's got some items. Had a bit of money. Certainly had a bit of bank there in that back pocket. Does have a 40 CS advantage as well. 7-3 and 10 on this server, doing a whole lot of work.
Lazy 3,500 gold lead over Wushin, who does have his damage items, but nowhere near the defense available. Zero almost gets the hook onto MLXG, but they might go in for this anyway. Yeah,
he's popped the thrill of the hunt, but not going to find the stealth from that one. Actually, no, he hasn't. He kept it. I thought I heard the noise there for a moment.
For once, a bit of restraint from Insect.
Yeah. They are going to just take down this inner turret in the top lane and
Super Minions pushing and smashing down the base in the bottom lane. Not many good decisions here for King.
Yeah, the tutorial is on, as it were, but King doing well pushing out these waves. As Thrill of the Hunt's going to be popped yet again. They're going to see them all doing this red buff. Kicked out is MLXG, but it's a beautiful choke with the equalizer. MLXG getting caught by the Chum the Waters. Korn not going to get hit by that Aqua Prison either. And here's HYY with so much damage. Wushin is going to try and get out. Does pop that heal as well. Uncharacteristically, another Descent to go wide from Zero as they're trying to hunt down the members of King. The flash double flay in the box to come through. And King are just falling apart. Royal Club follow their super creeps into the base, and may have taken a little bit longer than you would have otherwise expected, but Royal Club pick up a decisive victory.
Absolutely. Kim's are just lambs to the slaughter from the oncoming Aurelia, Fizz, and Sivir. And another 2-0 win, the third so far for the Starhorn Royal Club, who we thought, all right, until Name comes into this team, they're going to be just around the bottom, struggling to pick up any points at all. Picking up 9 clear points without a settled roster, very impressive from this organization.
Yeah, really looking fantastic. And the fact that their solo lanes can step up as well, and with HYY putting on a solid performance, as we go to this replay, we're going to see exactly what Starhorn Royal Club have done. And this is what won them the game, you have to say.
And this is definitely the game takeaway. We're still at 2 minutes 53. Remember that. This is very early into the game right here. So we'll start rolling the clip here. As it looks like just a standard 2v2 fight in the bottom lane. You can tell that King are baiting for MLXG to come in right here, but the teleport start, and very crucially, look how much earlier Kohler is into this fight. A good 5 to 6 seconds before level 2 Rumble comes in. And of course at level 2, and Aurelia has so much more CC and gap close than this Rumble. It's really felt in this fight. And King's the first to rotate their mid laner, but again, it's a level 2's Zed, and it's this cavalry. It's the Fizz and Lee Sin. Lee Sin, level 3, all abilities available, is such a strong skirmisher, and King, 5 deaths. It set the tone for the game, and we thought, all right, this game's, it's close to being over, but Starhorn Royal Club gave them multiple opportunities to get back into the game. That could have been a cleaner 25, 30-minute win. It went out to 37 minutes.
Yeah.
And Starhorn Royal Club can't afford to be quite that sloppy as they move forward.
Yeah, and you have to feel that if King sort of had have just not had that situation happen in the early game, that game would have been very, very different, because they looked like they were able to pull themselves back together, picking up the Baron and other important objectives, trying to find their way back into the game. They were doing well, so maybe if that hadn't happened, they could have made this a 1-1. But as it stands, it is going to be the victory for Starhorn Royal Club, and we are going to take a short break as the LPL continues in just a moment.